Hey, troops work for the Geeks Adventures. Woohoo! So, trailer dropped, and they're going, you don't do a lot of, well, not as many trailer reactions as you used to. Well, there are trailer reactions. I mean, the MCU stuff, DC, yada, yada, yada. And then there's this one, The Sandman from Netflix. The comic book story, it's one of the word seminal gets thrown around a lot. Rightfully so in this case here. When these stories originally came out I was in high school, in the mid late '80s, and at the time there was the Renaissance happening in comic books, and of course, all the usual stuff: Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, this came out from Neil Gaiman, and I remember reading the first promotional art is just like, oh, okay, looks kind of cool, blah blah blah, and then reading the first issue and going, on the surface, the idea of Sandman is about gods, monsters, demons, all these existential, uber powerful things interacting, how the reactions are to humans, blah, 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 the boring crap. That's the obvious thing. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that Dream is a part of the Endless. Now, you're going, so gods, the Celestials, Galactus, Darkseid. No. Here's the Endless are. Remember in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where Ego goes, there's Big G and Little G. There's Big G, and then there's kind of capital G all across. The Endless are manifestations of universal concepts. And when you mean universal, not just the 14 billion light year across our universe, as in universes, the multiverse. There's, oh gosh, I forget how many, but there's Death, Destiny, Delirium, and Dream. All of them controlling, kind of guiding how their given manifestation is. And for Dream, sometimes good dreams, sometimes not so good. Which is part of what made the story so powerful. Is that it's easy to get into the whole, pew, 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 gods, monsters. No. It's about consequences. It's about consequences in magic, consequences for gods. I mean, you look at even for stuff like in Justice League with Darkseid, with, obviously Thanos and this whole thing. You talk about consequences. Well, actually, for Thanos, it was kind of heavy because, well, he was never the same. But you get the idea, though. There's a sense of, I'm going to conquer or do whatever, like the Celestials, Galactus, goes on and on. And the consequences for them are just kind of like, I'm a god. I do whatever I want. What are you going to do about it? For the Endless, the consequences especially for Dream, as the story moves forward, the consequences are massive. It's a reflection of how magic is seen as not just this thing that it's funny watching the how DC and Marvel deal with magic, because in Marvel, in some ways, it's almost like you're trying to get magic to be just another force like science. Or they're trying to find ways to get it to squeeze in somehow. DC, oddly enough, they kind of simplified it in that it is about consequences. Magic is about sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice to cast a spell, to get something done? The whole Daniel and Devil Webster thing, except that Satan isn't the only one asking for a pound of flesh. Everybody is. Everything has a cost. And the dominoes don't just fall downhill. They go the other way, which is the power of Sandman. As the story develops, the Dream Morpheus starts as, the usual, I'm a god. As the story moves forward, he discovers that it's not that simple. And he realized that his actions do matter in a lot of ways for himself, for the other members of the Endless, for humanity, and the fact that we're kind of puny humans. It does matter what happens. This is one of those pieces of work that was like Watchmen, where everyone talks about no one's ever going to film this, blah 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 blah, and of course, assorted people all across the industry and film going, we're going to do it anyway. Ugh. And after about a year or two of pre-production, realizing maybe not. There was whispers for a while of someone doing a series or some such, and then all of a sudden Netflix came in, and everyone kind of went, well, maybe, possibly, and things were kind of quiet. I mean, they were worried about casting, all these things, and the good news was that throughout all of this, Neil Gaiman was very much backing the project, loved what he was seeing. To be frank, the antithesis of Alan Moore, but that's a whole other topic of discussion. But for the longest time, as a fan, thinking, are they really going to do this? I mean, because it was awfully quiet. Then we got the first teasery thing, and then today we got the first drop. I kind of cried for a little while. Long list of reasons. It looks magnificent. Visually looks stunning, which frankly is the easy part, really. And that's the thing that's always kind of made me laugh when it comes to, how are you going to film this? I'm like, well, that's what CGI is for, folks. And the good news is that Netflix has no qualms, about their budget limitations are not quite as much as, say, Marvel with Feige, who can probably go, can I have $1 billion? Well, actually, he did say that for Infinity War and Endgame. Can I have $1 billion? Sure. But definitely with Netflix still able to throw together a serious amount of cash. The cast, as you're watching, what captured me is seeing so many scenes from the book coming back. One of the great initial scenes you see is after Morpheus, I believe after he escapes. He's kind of flinging his body at this giant glowing orb of energy. That's right for the comic folks. When Constantine talks to Nettie, I believe is her name. Yeah, in Britain, and Nettie's going, look, he's coming back. That interaction is from the comic books. Yes, they changed the gender. Yes, Lucian, the librarian, is African American. So this is a story about a mystical, powerful being that walks around in your dreams. So guess what? You're allowed to mess around with the other stuff. And like I said, Neil Gaiman's been going the whole time. So guess what? He's cool. I'm cool. I don't care. But looking at everything, the recreation of, if memory serves, you see that giant gate. The one that kind of makes the black gate from Lord of the Rings look like a picket fence. I believe that is the gate to Hades. Hell. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how technically the Lucifer from the series Lucifer is the same person. So what are they going to do? Who knows? Or they may just kind of be like, it's the multiverse, so yeah. It just looks magnificent. And the last person you see being all creepy Joker-esque / Hannibal Lecter-esque at the end, looking out the window and you see the blood streaming down the eyes. Who is it? I have my suspicions. And I imagine I imagine a lot of other Sandman fans are all going, oh my God. But one, could be wrong. And two, let's not spoil it for everybody else. Technically, there are no spoilers. The dang book's been out for a long time. So, it's like Lord of the Rings. Hey, I wonder if Frodo's going to drop the ring into Mount Doom. Read the book. But nonetheless, you get the idea. So, yeah, it's for real. It looks stunning. Um, and if anyone is gonna get this right, it's the same company that has done Stranger Things, has done Ozark. You get the idea. The list goes on. It may, I don't give a damn if it's perfect or not. If they do everything exactly, blah blah, blah, I don't care. Um, just to see them bring out the best of what the stories had on screen, that is all that matters to me. Remember, it's about consequences. Even God's got to pay the piper sometimes. Anyway, I'm gonna go. So yeah, I just like babbled and managed to not spray and drool too much. So anyway, um, if you do want to see what the big deal is, check your local online shop. I imagine your local library. Check your local library. Check your local fellow comic book fans. This piece of work is everywhere. The very first series of stories you want to do are going to be under the subtitle Preludes and Nocturnes. If you want to cheat, if you don't, then ignore me. Screw it. Never mind. Anyway, I'm going to go because it's late and it's Monday and I'm really, really tired. So, hey, may the force be with you. May the odds be in your favor. And as always, be good to each other. Okay, peeps? Y'all take care. Peace. August. Yeah. Bye.